Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Camilla Carrara, Project Coordinator C.L.A.S.S. I'm really pleased to welcome you all today to the first session of C.L.A.S.S Smart Voices 2023 program on the occasion of World Water Day 2023, Accelerating Change. Now, I'm extremely pleased to present our today's speakers. Giusy Bettoni, CEO and founder of C.L.A.S.S, Raffaella Giugni, Responsible Institutional Relations, Marevivo Onlus, Alberto Carpanese, co-founder See the Change, Luigi Caccia, co-founder PureDenim, Michelle Lee, NILIT Vice President Global Marketing. Enjoy your vision.
Thank you, Camilla, and thanks to everybody that is joining us for a very special day dedicated to water. And for the second time, we accept and we welcome the call to action from UN about water. Today is the Water Day, and we love the fact that the motto is accelerating change. And we try in our world, of C.L.A.S.S to do the same thing. We want, water is something that is, important, especially for everybody. And as C.L.A.S.S is close to patient supply chain, we would like to talk about three subjects, which are the key information coming from the territory. We will hear from the expertise of Marevivo Onlus and See the Change. Hidden water, second, key point, the water that is not felt or seen in final products, but is required for almost every step of the textile and fashion production processes. And PureDenim is going to help us in this journey. We want to talk also about water efficiency, new eco-high-tech solution to secure water health. So we will wrap up the session with Sensil BioCare by NILIT. But let's start introducing, really pleased to introduce Raffaella Giugni, Responsible Institutional Relation from Marevivo. When Marevivo was founded, Raffaella Giugni was already a teenager who loved the sea. That's the reality. And after a long experience in the business field, she's now in charge of the institutional relation of the association and fully engaged in the protection of the sea through awareness-raising initiatives and action, aiming at fighting marine litter. That is the bad thing, when we talk about the oceans and rivers, and protecting the marine ecosystem and its species. Marevivo is an independent environmental association that since 1985 has been fighting for the protection of the sea and the resources. So, Raffaella, up to you, but before going into the conversation, let's start with a very nice video. Mille, if you can help us. really amazing, very
Thank you.
interesting and engaging, Raffaella. So first of all, Raffaella, can you please share with us who is Marevivo and which are its key objectives?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Giusy and Camilla, for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here today because I think every occasion is important to remind why it is crucial to celebrate the role of water in our lives. You saw our video, and the sea is the origin of our life, so the water. So it's very important for each one of us. This year, you already said, as you already said, World Water Day is about accelerating change. And because water affects us all, we need everyone to take action urgently. We know what is happening right now. We have very poor water. I mean, we have problems in Italy too. So the water is crucial and we have to act now. We are all concentrated on life on Earth, but seas and oceans are fundamental for human life on this planet. In fact, the ocean covers 70% of the planet's surface, produces 50% of the oxygen we breathe, absorbs 1/3 of the carbon dioxide emissions responsible for climate change, and most important, represents 98% of the inhabited territory. So most of the life on our planet is in the oceans. However, in order to fulfill its vital role, it must be in good health and in balance with all living creatures, animals, and plants. Here comes the work of Marevivo. Marevivo is a non-profit organization with almost 40 years of experience in protecting the sea and its resources. Marevivo's mission is to protect the sea, focusing on biodiversity conservation, sustainable development, promotion of marine protected areas, and fight against pollution and illegal fishing. We also promote education for sustainable development in schools and universities. Marevivo is based in Italy, but we collaborate and have partnerships with many international organizations all over Europe. We firmly believe that together we can change the value of systems of our society and to really understand and feel the bond that connects us all to the ocean, so to the water. Let me tell you very briefly about our main activities. As I said, we work for protection and restoration. So we work on the territory to monitor and protect marine biodiversity and obviously also coastal ecosystems. We work with the governments, we work with local authorities, fighting for more sustainable laws, because laws are important so that our actions are, at the end of the day, more sustainable. Then we develop awareness raising campaigns, reaching hundreds of people every year through all mainstream media. We, as I was saying, we are present in schools and universities with our environmental educational projects to create an ocean generation. So to grow a young generation more aware of the importance of protecting the sea and therefore the water. Very briefly, this is what we do.
This is great, Raffaella, thank you for that. And another question, and I know that we need to wrap up and to be synthetic, but it's really important. Which are, in your perspective, from Marevivo perspective, the key criticalities and the key solution? Doesn't matter if it's from a personal perspective or a professional perspective. Can you share with us? Because we would like to highlight criticalities, and we know what it is, but also the kind of solution that you propose to engage, with people at personal level or professional level.
Okay, there are three main issues that we can, the problems can be concentrated in three main issues. One is biodiversity loss. As I was saying, we have a very, in the last 50 years, marine life population have declined by more than 50%. So this is an overfishing is one of the main problems we are facing up to now, but also marine forests loss, which are compromising the capacity of the ocean to produce oxygen and capture carbon dioxide. How do we solve this? Obviously, we have to change our habits, and this is the leitmotif of all everything we say. Either we change the way we live, the way we consume, or it's impossible to make a real change. This goes also to the second issue, which is climate crisis. The climate crisis, the climate clock says that we have only less than 6 years left to enact a transformational change to avoid raising global temperature above 1.5 degrees centigrade. This has been also confirmed these days by the last IPCC report. So the situation, we're not talking about climate change, but climate crisis. We are in the middle of a crisis. So what can we do? We have to change our energy. This is the first point. So we should stop using fossil fuels and go to renewable energies. The third main issue is pollution. And I want to concentrate just for 1 minute on plastic pollution, which is one of our main battles. We produce 300 million tons of plastic per year. Imagine this, it is like every minute a truck full of plastic ends up in our oceans. As we all know, plastic is never destroyed. It crumbles, becomes microplastics, nanoplastics, and ends up in our food chain. But evidence are now clear that we found microplastics not only in fish, in marine animals, but also in human blood. So what else should happen to make us understand how critical the situation is? Almost 90% of the plastic that goes in the ocean is disposable plastic. And this is one of our battles, is fight against disposable single-use plastic, because everything that can be avoided, we should try to do it. This is why I was telling about changing our habits. So not only reusing, recycling, but most of all, reduce the way we consume.
Very clear, very to the point. How not to agree with you and not to agree with, this point of view, because we need to rethink about, and also the fact that all this plastic is in the water. Why? On top of all the other, warning. So thank you very much, Raffaella. And let me go to Alberto Carpanese, co-founder of See the Change. Alberto is an environmental economist who graduated in resource economic and sustainable development at University of Bologna. The sea has always been a great lab. So after working in different sectors, he dedicated himself to protecting the ocean by founding See the Change. Alberto, welcome, first of all. And can you please share with us who is See the Change and its objectives?
Yeah. Good evening, everyone. And first of all, thank you, Giusy, and thanks, C.L.A.S.S, to inviting me here. And I want to also follow what everything said Raffaella of Marevivo, because we have the same vision. And also, we want to protect oceans. See the Change is an innovative startup with social vocation, born to connect the economic system with ocean protection. We want to empower companies to be more competitive, innovative, and responsible by making them having a real impact on protecting oceans. Why oceans? Why we decided to work with oceans? Because all the problems that Marevivo already said, biodiversity loss, acidification of oceans, marine litter, are all leading to irreversible climate change. But at the same time, oceans are our best ally to fight climate change. And as said before, half of the briefs we have come from the oceans. And most important thing, marine ecosystem has 20 times more power of land-based ecosystem to absorb CO2. So we link the sustainable strategies of companies with ocean protection by our services. And basically, we have three core services. The first is blue carbon, in which we generate blue carbon credits by protecting Venice lagoon ecosystem. And we use these blue carbon credits to offset the emissions of companies that they cannot reduce. And by this action, we also increase the biodiversity of the wetlands of the lagoon. Poseidon is the second service in which we map and monitor midwalls of Posidonia oceanica in coast of Catalonia. And by doing that, inside we give strategic KPIs that companies can insert in the sustainability report. And on the other side, we protect Posidonia oceanica, that is the most important marine ecosystem we have in the Mediterranean Sea. And unfortunately, in the last 50 years, we lost more than 35% of these midwalls. And every year we lose 7% of these midwalls. The last service we give company is fishing for litter, in which we give another form of income to local fishermen that collect waste instead of fish. Then we study the waste, the litter, and we give the kilograms and the composition about the KPIs that companies can insert in the sustainability report. Also, when a company buy our services, we believe about the stakeholder engagement. So we want to communicate the impact of the company and making all the stakeholders of the company aware of the impact, and also give them the possibility to have an impact too. So in our website, we have also a platform that allows all individuals to invest in our service.
So this is, I think, very good because it's concrete. I mean, there is a territory that you are looking at, where you are operating. And this is so important because accelerating the change means to do something very concrete with precise, objectives, but also measurement of the impact. As C.L.A.S.S, we keep saying that, for us, the sustainability is coming, first of all, from the fact that we know how, our choices, of every day in fashion in particular, the people that is deciding for material, deciding for processes, they need to know how is impacting. And I think what you are doing is going exactly in this direction toward the water. And my last question is, and you have already, started to introduce this, but how we can participate, to what you are doing concretely, if we are a normal consumer or if we are a company, how we can, activate ourselves, because at a certain point, as Raffaella was saying, each one of us is asked to change something, and please share with us what is possible to do also from your side.
Yeah, sure. First of all, I really love the motto of this year because accelerating change and see the change is matching. So we, as I said before, our idea is to give everyone the possibility to have a real impact, so individuals and companies. And this is the point of view of the startup. But I will also love to spread this idea about sharing knowledge. I give an example. Italy is on the top 3 for plastic bottles consumed in the world. And it's behind just Mexico and Emirates that has this problem for other stuff, not because of mentality. But in Italy, more than 90% of the tap water is drinkable. So we buy bottled plastic water just because we are used to buy it, because it's an habit and it's mentality. But maybe also because people doesn't know that they can drink tap water, and this is just an example. So I will give an advice to everyone. If you know something that could be useful, if you know something that could improve the life of people, improve environment and be good for the environment. Share your knowledge, share your ideas, share with your parents, with your friends, with your colleagues. Share your knowledge because we need that.
So we go back to the culture as well, because, perception of, for example, tap water is something we need to change. We were hearing, and not really proud about the Italian way that, we are also losing water.
Yeah, that's another point, that 40% of the
40%. I was really, shocked, after many years, because it's a long time that we hear about 40%. Okay, yeah. It's a fact, but every year should be a little bit better, But
yeah, we need to ask to institutions also to take action for that, but also it's matching. Us as individuals and institutions should work together to get the work better.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Alberto.
Thank you so much.
And after this, little little glitch about, the territory and what's going on, at a glance, we go into the hidden use of water, and we talk with Luigi Caccia. Hi, Luigi. I cannot see you, but I hope it's just me. Hello.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, and we can see you. Great. Welcome, Gigi.
Hi, how are you?
Luigi Caccia is the founder, together with his sister Ilaria, of PureDenim, a company specialized in the production of sustainable denim, with a company that it's in a very special area, that is the park of Ticino, correct?
Yeah.
That is a very, very special reserved area. And Gigi has more than 35 years of experience as a leader in denim manufacturing, and has earned global recognition as an innovator of textile manufacturing process. He's the guy that keeps saying that sustainability in denim is depending just on 10% of the fiber. All the rest are processes. And we know this is true, correct, Gigi?
Yeah, yeah.
So, and that's why he has given a particular contribution to revolutionary new production technique, like the use of electrochemicals to create smart dyes, as well as new application about ultrasound and recycled food waste. And just to finish the, the kind of portrait of Gigi, he has been giving his contribute to, the textile industry, where Future Extensive in River Blue, a critical acclaimed documentary, right, Gigi? That's another one. So it's clear that you have a great expertise in textile and in particular denim. You have created PureDenim as a real and concrete answer to bad fame about the relationship between jeans and sustainability, because it's clear that the perception is there. And we know that water is key for the jeans industry and denim industry. We know that every day you are developing new, but really every day new solution. I've been also visiting, I have really the chance and lucky to be there. And you keep saying 10% is the material, the rest is where we need the big evolution. Can you take us through PureDenim DNA and water solution with people that, like us, we are not scientists, because believe me, and for people that can do, I will invite you to come and visit the company, because it's really an example of technology that are going into that direction. Gigi.
Hi to everybody. Yes, textile is a big issue for the water, but the brands, the main part of the brands, we must say that they are greenwasher. They use the communication to confuse the final customer. So the water is not an issue for the brands, but they talk mainly about fiber and this kind of elements. In fact, we are all confused, and we think that a sustainable fabric is made by organic cotton, because they push us the information that the organic cotton use less water than traditional cotton, use less pesticide than a traditional cotton. And everything is based on this position. But we know very well that the fiber part represents just the 10% of the use of the water in 1 meter of fabric. Our specialization in denim is important because, as you know, denim is produced in some billion meters per year. So every drop of water that is used in excess will be multiplied for billion meters. So every time we can save one drop of water, every time we can save and we can avoid the use of one chemistry, we will create a real benefit for the textile industries. There is part of the world where the use of water is not under control in the textile. One of the countries that where you can source, for example, organic cotton is India. But India today is using more than 50% of the water from the river and from the for the industry. But to be considered as a sustainable country, the excess of water cannot you cannot use more than 20% of this water. If you use more than 20%, you are taking the water that usually is used for people and for humans. So they are using water for that the destination is for human, for textile, and to grow organic cotton that is not organic. So brands push us to buy something that is not solving a problem, but is creating a new problem. Use of excess of water in place where the water is very low. What we do is to find a solution to avoid the use of chemistry, dangerous chemistry that can pollute the water and can create, block the possibility to recycle the water. Because recycling of the water maybe is one of the solutions for textile industries. But due to the fact that we put in the water a lot of dangerous chemistry, difficult to clean, we create salt in the water. We increase the salinity of the water. We add elements that take the oxygen from the water. For example, hydrosulfite is one of the chemical most used in textile. Hydrosulfite in the water takes the oxygen and kills the sea fish, the sea life, and transform the water from in salty water. So the river cannot be used anymore, for example, for agriculture in some place of the world, like Bangladesh, for example. So what we are doing is to help the textile to find different solutions and to avoid some chemistry. One of the chemistry that is very polluting in textile is polyvinylic alcohol. Polyvinylic alcohol is a kind of plastic coming from petroleum that in every fabric you will source in the world is used. You must consider that in 100 meters of denim, you can source the exact quantity, the same quantity than 13 bottles of water, the same quantity of plastic than in 13 bottles of water. Means that we cover, in textile, people cover the fabric with a small quantity of plastic to protect the color, to protect to help the weaving process. This plastic, when you wash at home, when you buy your pair of blue jeans, when you wash at home, this plastic is microplastic. It goes into the water directly. Is one of the microplastic created by alcohol polyvinylic is a food for plankton. And the plankton eat microplastic coming from PVA, and we eat the fish that eat microplastic. One of our main project was to replace polyvinylic alcohol using something coming from the food industry, means a discharge of the food industry. We use the white part of the orange peels to create a kind of gel to protect the yarn. This is a food grade, means that if you touch with your mouth or if you eat accidentally, is not dangerous. Is okay if you keep in contact with the skin, no problem. And when you wash at home, what you release is food for fish, is organic food for fish, and we don't put any seed to create this, but we take something that some other throw away because the orange, the peel of the orange is thrown away after from the food industries. So we try to find a different solution to help the textile. The big news is that this kind of technique are not interesting for the brands. The big brands do not want to know there are solutions. They just want to know that there are the possibility to buy at a cheaper price in some place of the world. So they claim about organic cotton, or they talk about solutions that do not exist. What we do is to fight this kind of mentality. We lose turnover, but we want to be different in our production and in our denim.
So as you has heard, this is the difference between a producer and a game changer. Okay, you know, at class and during the Smart Voice, our invitees should be game changer. You know, we do not want just to share what is normal in the market, but the pioneer vision of someone that can change it. You know, I'm not so drastic to say that brands do not want, but for sure the change, you know, that's why this session is called, you know, accelerating the change. We want to pass this message as much as possible from our perspective, because, you know, that for sure there is someone that is not listening, but others that would like to hear more about this. And it's, you know, as a platform, you know, like C.L.A.S.S, we want to do more and to share more. So that's why, Gigi, we are inviting you more and more to share your thoughts, because we need to go from game changer to something that needs to become the normality, because we need, you know, we heard the Marevivo, we heard see the change, you know, if we are killing the ecosystem in the ocean, is even worse than, you know, cutting the trees, because the kind of oxygen coming from the sea, it's much more robust than the other one. And it needs to be, you know, true. So we need to know more. We need to, you know, I heard, you know, Raffaella say fighting, okay, and protecting. It's like being warriors, but we need to be warriors that are pushing for good things, because what you are saying is not something, you know, so different, but needs just to move a little bit, you know, and we need to talk to people, to, you know, brands that has a vision and not just looking for a product, I think. And that's different from, you know, having a cost and looking at the values. That sounds very obvious, but that's what we are talking about. And I would like to ask you another thing, Gigi, because I know that you have many new things coming, and I know that, you know, project also with ingredients, because, you know, despite the fact that you have all these processes that are amazing, and as you just mentioned, it's really working very well. It's not just, you know, something magic. It's just really science applied to everyday life in the production that are going to cost a lot for water, you know, in hidden products. But you are also playing with ingredients, because you have been launching different one from the Bamberg, from the, you know, the cotton trace dyeing, you know, the dyeing is another key thing. Can you take us through the latest success that you have? Because, you know, we just come back from Florence together where we presented it.
Yes, one of our main ideas is to find different kind of fibers. Means if we can source a fiber that is a discharge of someone else's industry, for us is important. And for example, we work with Azankazei to use the cupro as one of the fiber in the denim industries. We mixed cupro and cotton together to create Bloody Cupro, that is a new fiber that uses 70% of cupro. Cupro is a discharge of the cotton industry. So nothing has been grown to create cupro, but it's something that people throw away. So taking from this point, we have created this new fiber that uses a tremendously less quantity of water to be produced. And this was an important step. We have introduced the use of ultrasound technology in textile. The use of ultrasound helps to reduce the amount of water, increasing the power of the water instead of using huge amount of water. And this is another topic we are forcing. So We think that the industry all over has a solution, okay? But we are scared to mix the solution found from other industry and to bring it into our industry. This is something that costs a lot and do not give you an immediate revenue, an immediate feedback, because people do not understand brands, so wants they don't want to change. So it's difficult to make this kind of step, but we think that there are interesting solutions for textile. Textile is an easy industry, is a basic industry, and this kind of industry do not want to evolve. We are using the dyeing in the same way that the Egyptian does 2,000-3,000 years ago. Is only a new, there is only some technology in the background, but the idea in the background is exactly the same. We must change this vision. There are possibilities to make it in a different way, and we must force the industry to change. But we must remember that the biggest part of this production, more than 90%, is made in low-cost place. And in this place, there is not a will to change. They don't need to change. They only need to create a new item at a very low cost. They are not interested into solving someone else's problem, because they think that these are problems for rich countries, for Europe, and in some place of North America. So they have an abuse of water. They have an abuse of chemistry. They use in the wrong way the technology they have in their hands. We need to help these people. All the technology you can find here in our place are not protected by patent and are open source. When we develop something, the customer may know what we have done. We can help the producer in the other part of the world to implement this technology in their countries. We are really hoping to do this because we don't think that the revenues can be done playing on a word problem. You know, you must doing a revenue because you do a nice job, because you do a nice item. But we cannot do revenue thinking that we are using 90% less of water than the other. We need to help the other one to use 90% less of the water.
Absolutely.
This is
and here the words sharing is caring is really something that has a sense. Thank you, Gigi. Really interesting. And now we go, you know, we have been reviewing, you know, the kind of institution, the kind of looking at the situation of the oceans, quite a challenging, you know, production like the denim and the jeans from a water and the chemical perspective. And we go to another perspective. So really pleased to be here with Michelle Lee. Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Gigi.
NILIT Vice President Global Marketing. You know, and prior to join NILIT, Michelle was a business leader at W.L. Gore and Associate for 5 years, where she led the strategy for the global Gore-Tex apparel business, leading to a more sustainable look at the future. Most recently, she led the team to launch a new direct-to-consumer apparel brand focused on bringing more premium, sustainable solution to the marketplace. So another warrior, Michelle. Early last year, Michelle joined NILIT to lead their marketing efforts. She was aware of NILIT through her previous role in the industry, and she was excited to join a company so passionate about changing the textile industry for the better. So Michelle, we talk about nylon, you know, so we talk about these eco high-tech materials that, you know, are so important, that are so, you know, talk in the market. And we talk about solution because we know the problems, I think, but it's important to work about solution through a technology that, you know, can create less impact, as we said from the beginning, but, you know, it's good because Michelle, you were with us also last year on 22nd of March, and we like, you know, not just to have always different speakers, because we like a lot also to have people, you know, that is improving technologies, is improving things, you know, and that's why we are really pleased that you are here with us. And if you can revamp everything talking about company, because it's the company that is making product and not vice versa. So Michelle, up to you with NILIT strategy about responsibility, but also innovation, because responsible innovation is key here. So
yeah, absolutely. So first of all, happy World Water Day to you and to everybody else. And this is such a great forum that you pull people together and just share about, one of our most critical topics, especially on this day today. So it's been super interesting to listen to what others are doing and new innovations that are coming through the pipeline as well. So it's great to see the impact that we're starting to have on the textile industry. But I thought maybe I could share a little bit about who we are, and then we can talk about specifically how we're connected to some of the technologies around the water preservation and savings areas as well. So I have a few slides that I thought I'd just bring up onto the meeting, just to kind of, again, share a little bit more about who we are, in case there's some people on the call who might not have heard of NILIT, but I thought it would be good just to share our vision and where we're really focused as we move forward. So for us, and as we've heard already on the call, we know that the textile industry needs change. We know that there's a lot of opportunity in front of us, and we want to be part of that, not just contribute to it, but also drive part of it as well. So for us, it's really about how do we help shape the future of the textile, sportswear, and fashion industries in a responsible way. So we, as NILIT, we are a global supplier of nylon 6/6 solutions. So the fibers that we make are in the premium nylon 6/6 space. And I can talk a little bit more later on. I think you had some questions about the technology specifically, so I'll go into more details on that. But I think the one thing, and what I've been listening to with some of the other topics as well, is, for us, it's not just about the product that you produce, but Gigi, you were talking about how you produce it and some of the water usage and some of the negative impact on that. So we take it all into our core values of like social and environmental responsibility, not just the product we put out there, but how we do it through responsible manufacturing processes. How do we look at saving water? How do we look at conserving energy, carbon footprint reduction? The other thing, Gigi, that you mentioned too, which I was reflecting on, was the greenwashing, and how do we create more transparency throughout the value chain, right? In terms of how is that product going right from the fiber to the end consumer garments, so that they know that they're buying it in a responsible way, and that the consumer is making an impact as well. So everything we do is driven around excellence, quality, diversity, teamwork, but again, bringing the products to the market in a responsible way. So again, I've talked about this, but two key areas for us. The first two is really around the product side, and we have innovation that covers multiple different sustainable options, which we can talk about. I know we'll focus in on two of them specifically today. But again, as I talked about from a manufacturing excellence standpoint, this is just as important for us as well. On the social side of it, we do like to participate in community events as well. So great to hear some of the things that are being worked on. Sea of Change sounds super exciting as well, and what about Alberto's been able to do. But just being part of these partnerships and how can we together, really help impact the environment and really make a change for the better is definitely something that we're focused on as well. From the product side, so this is just a high level snapshot, and then I think, Juicy, we were going to focus in on one of them specifically, but this is interesting too. I think Gigi talked about brands and maybe them not wanting to pay the price for sustainability as well. But it's always interesting when I show this slide or a similar slide to some of our brands. A lot of times it's around education for the market too, where brands will come in and they'll say, I just need organic, or I just need recycled. But when they see there's other options out there, it's starting to open more doors too. And I think the more we as an industry can educate brands and consumers about what things they should be looking at, it's going to help to change in the future. So we have options around reducing fossil feedstock. This is one that we just launched last year. We just came back from Performance Days a couple of days ago, and a lot of excitement around this new introduction for us. And essentially it's, replacing biogas or replacing fossil fuels with biogas from organic waste. So we've been able to change the dependency on fossil resources in certain areas and some of the raw materials that we produce. We do have the recycled options. We do have well-being options on the right-hand side. But I think where we wanted to focus, a lot of the discussion today was in the middle, and the focus of the conversation around water and microplastics in water. We have solutions for those as well, which are very well received in the market too.
This is great, and you cover a lot of the things. It's nice because it's organically conversation from Marevivo down to Alberto, Gigi, and yourself. But what I think we can have a deeper conversation with you is the fact that you being an ingredient, a fiber, and having the possibility to have this ingredient, you are activating the supply chain from a fabric and brand producer at the same time. Of course, we are all aware that we need a lot of, let's call it education, sharing information, and keep doing it, because sometimes you have to do for a long time, and then they say, oh, you have these new things, and maybe you talk for a year and a half about it, but doesn't matter because we have to do.
They're not ready.
So,
yeah.
Can you share with us at product level what has been, because I remember that you launched, this new solution. It was last time in March. Can you take care about a little bit about the characteristic, the performances, and who has adopted it, and share with us, because the key thing is not to talk about solution at fiber level, but how we can take this to a consumer for its wardrobe. Because if we just talk about innovation without the possibility to share downstream, the accelerating change is not going to happen. And we know that at NILIT, you do this kind of, journey. It takes time, it takes efforts, but as Gigi will say, we will never stop talking about it.
No, exactly. And that's part of our strategy, and a lot of people too, is educating throughout the supply chain, right? It's not just the end consumer that's purchasing, but throughout the supply chain, talking about the different solutions and the impact, I think is so critical as well. So the technology that you're talking about is our Sensil BioCare. And this is something that we introduced on the call exactly a year ago as well. And it's something that we brought to the market. I think it was late 2021 was the first introduction of it. So Rafaela talked about the microplastics in the ocean being a big concern. And this is something that we have a partner that we've worked together with, and we have an additive that we have in our yarn specifically that helps break down microplastics when they do end up in that ocean environment. So it's an exciting introduction for us, because there is a lot of talk around the microplastics as we've heard already today. But the idea for us is really just to help reduce the persistence of the microfibers that are ending up in the ocean in the long run. So I think we shared a chart last year that looked a little bit different than the one that you see on the bottom here, but we're continuing to monitor this in a lab environment. You can see the testing, which is a standardized testing that happens on the yarn specifically. And I think last year, the chart that we showed maybe was after 2 years, we were around 66% of it was degraded. But you can see where we're at today, and we're excited to show that we're moving in the right way here. So after just over 3 years, we're seeing almost 80% of those fibers have disappeared in the marine environment. So it's been interesting when you talk, Juicy, about the education and the adopting of this. For us, we did launch it in 2021, but it's only probably been in the past 6 to 8 months where we've seen a lot of interest as more of the conversation around plastics, microplastics in the environment is becoming much more of a discussion. So we've had a lot of great mills, not just in Europe, but also I'm sitting here in the North America side of the world, but a lot of interest here too. We have some mills that have picked it up. We do, I think I have a slide here too. We do have, you can see some of the products that we've been able to introduce. Ponte Torto is big mill of ours, REPA as well. So, you know, a lot of really interesting fabrics from microfleece, you know, to other textiles. You think about different end uses that we're able to use this BioCare technology, and you see multiple different end uses. On the right there at the bottom, you can see Lorpen introduced a sock, which we're really excited about too, because they won the ISPO award in November as well. So it's a really great achievement for them. You know, they were able to introduce this BioCare into the actual sock in the marketplace too. So you can see from this slide, you know, right from the mills to the end product itself that's hitting the market. And then we do go on to tell the story to the consumer as well. So we are seeing the pickup of it, which is really exciting for us.
And we will keep inviting you, Michelle, to see the next steps, because it's really important to go, you know, through the supply chain. And also, Gigi, we will be talking about it next time as well. So someone is telling me that we are running out of time, but really it was such an interesting, and you know, I've been knowing even new information, new really amazing facts. But before closing this you know, session, I know that there are some questions. So if Camilla, you can share with us the questions so that we can try to answer to people.
Sure. The first one is from Charles. I take the point of the climate crisis, but how much focus should we also have on the biodiversity crisis? Will the breakdown of biodiversity and life?
Maybe Raffaella.
Sure. Yes, it's a very severe crisis, because biodiversity, when something, I mean, as I was saying before, we need to have all elements in balance. So every time we lose even one small piece from the oceans, this chain breaks, and when you break a chain, it doesn't work anymore. So the biodiversity loss is one of the main points on which we should fight. But the main issue is that we don't know much about the biodiversity, because as I was saying, there are so many living creatures in the ocean that sometimes we don't know what we lose. So it's quite a difficult issue, but we have to fight to protect biodiversity. That's for sure. Yes.
Next is a question for all the speakers. Do you agree with big events organized on the beaches?
Can I answer this question?
Absolutely.
Yes, we are totally against big events on the beaches. We have been doing a petition last summer, and we took 55,000 signatures from people because it's devastating. I mean, beaches are a complex, again, have a complex biodiversity. They're not, I mean, it's not, beaches are not stadiums, so they should not be used for big events. So we are fighting. We would like to have a law that prohibits this kind of events on the beaches.
Thank you. I don't know if someone wants to add something, but I think it was pretty complete already as reply. Then we have, from what I understand, there are more cellulosic microfilaments in the ocean than there are synthetic. But the danger is the dodgy chemicals that use the fiber fragmentation as the carrier to enter the food chain. Chemicals like agricultural wash-off, PCBs and PFCs. Surely we need to concentrate on the most dangerous elements rather than just label plastic in the ocean as the evil.
Well, we need to consider everything, of course. You know, he's right or she's right, I do not know, but for sure we need to try to do our best and to highlight the possible solutions. But for sure, you know, and each one of you can, you know, give an answer, but, you know, there is a lot of things to do to prevent this, you know. And Raffaella was saying at the beginning that we need to have also laws about this kind of things, but what we can say today is that there are people that is working very well and is trying to fight against it. And we need to communicate as much as possible globally about solution so that, we can do more. But that is my, professional and personal feedback, because, we have so many problems, because when we are in a climate crisis like today, but we have to do our best to do every day, in our companies as the personal, the right things, or it's going to be a problem. But if anybody else want to give an answer here, but I think the answer is really, let's try to focus and choose the right thing from a consumer perspective, from a company perspective, from a designer, in textile, from all perspectives.
Okay, so we can go to the next one. Could consuming less fish and moving towards a more plant-based diet help restore the marine environment?
Do you want me to reply? Okay, yes, because we are abusing we are taking too much fish. So we have to reduce our consumption, reduce food waste, and give the sea the time to reproduce, because the sea has the ability of reproducing very fast. So if we try to do a more sustainable fishing and we try to give the oceans some time to regenerate, we can restore what we are losing. But we have to change again, as I was saying before, our habits and try to be more responsible.
So abuse is never a good thing, never, right. Ever. So
yeah, if I can add something, it's just also to try to other alternatives. There are today in the market some plant-based alternatives to fish, to meat, that has a water footprint really low compared to fish or meat. So people need to try that and need to shift the diet. And this really could help the environment and the sea.
Well, but as we are talking about culture, let's start to reduce at least, and then we can do maybe the change. But, and again, communicate the possibilities, because sometimes it looks like, there is magic and not real things. So, but the alternatives are there for sure.
Then are biodegradable textiles only really relevant for the textile breaks off? Surely there is a less impact in the garment just gets recycled, as opposed to the energy required to recreate the fiber after it has composted. The amount of textile breaks off compared to fibers left in the whole garment are just a small percentage. Rarely do whole garments get dumped. Does BioCare meet ASTMS, which means the remains are non-toxic?
So I think this one's for me.
Yeah.
Well, so there's a lot in that question or questions. I think we're right on time, but I can cover quickly. Yes, BioCare does meet the standards. That's the testing that we do. So there's no toxic particles or anything that's left in the ocean. The other piece that I do want to mention on this question as well, because you brought up the topic around recycling, and in the industry that we're in nylon 6/6, a lot of times it gets combined with like an elastane or other type of materials, which makes it virtually impossible to do post-consumer recycling on it. So that's why we're looking at additional options, like the recycling we have is post-industrial recycling. So, when you think about the breadth of our portfolio, we're trying to target different areas. We are working on solutions on post-consumer recycling as well, but it's still down the road. I'll say that.
Thank you. Then there is also another one for Marevivo. What are the Marevivo?
Last one, Camilla.
Okay.
Thank you.
What are the Marevivo programs in which citizens can be involved, especially in the coming months?
First of all, I must say that all citizens can be and must be ambassadors of our message. That's the first thing that I want everyone to be involved, because only sharing the message we can achieve a result. But apart from that, we do beach cleanups all the time, so citizens can join and can be with us to do practical things, and visiting our website, everything is on there, so they can join us in all our activities.
Thank you so much, Raffaella. So
If
now
there
we
are
come
other
to
questions, okay,
no.
because just in case we could, you know, reply after, because, you know, they have your email. So it was really an interesting session. Thanks so much. Thanks so much to Raffaella, to Alberto, you know, to Michelle, and to Gigi. Really, really interesting. Keep going, keep doing, and all together, you know, we are, you know, there to accelerate the change and to make the change. Step by step sometime, but even if we do not abuse, if you do not do, you know, something that is completely outside, I think, the law as well, we can make it much better. Thanks a lot for the time, and thanks to all the people that, you know, has been with us during this session. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a nice day.
Thank you.